Mr. Tickle is one of my cat's favourite Mr. Men because she has a Mr. Man plush that she loves. The book itself, I actually revisited for the first time as an adult a few months ago. Maybe it might have even been a year ago now, but it was, relatively recently in the grand scheme of things. And I was quite surprised by this narrative compared to every other Mr. Man book. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But I recently bought the box set of all of the books, so I thought I'd revisit it again with the book this time rather than just doing an audio only discussion. And I have a lot of praise for a lot of this, but the overall message just really surprised me. So Mr. Tickle is actually the first Mr. Man book, published in 19... oh gosh, now I think it was 1971. I'm not sure if this... yes, there you go. 1971. This particular edition, I believe, was published in 2010. We have a copyright down there for 2020, so I was 10 years out. But this is Roger Hargreaves' first Mr. Man book, and I have to say, I'm about to criticise it for giving a bad message, but at the same time, I want to stress that I might be overthinking it because, like many children, I grew up learning to read with Mr. Men books, including Mr. Tickle, and I did not learn the bad message that I think is in this. So it is just me maybe overanalyzing it from an adult perspective, but maybe for young children, it's not actually something that's going to colour their view of certain things in a negative light. I'll explain what I mean by that. So the book itself, most of it is absolutely delightful. We have this gorgeous, one of the most iconic, for me, pictures. Some gorgeous, gorgeous illustrations, and that's definitely something that I think makes Mr. Men very popular. One of the reasons it works well as well, because we have a small amount of text on each page. So it's easily digestible for young children, either who are learning to read aloud or who are following the words as their parent or carer or teacher reads along with them. So it's not overwhelming, and we have some gorgeous illustrations to illustrate whatever is happening. Now, in this one, we learn that Mr. Tickle likes to tickle. And he has these very long arms, as we can see here, with which he likes to tickle people. And throughout this narrative, he's going around tickling all kinds of people. The policeman. Have I missed a page? No, they're just very thick, good quality paper. The greengrocer who falls into... oh, they're apples. I thought they were giant peas. I think that says more about me than it does anything else. The railway guard, and one of my favourites, Mr. Stamp. What a brilliant name. With his very, very white moustache. But he's tickling all of these people, and all of these bad things are happening. Nothing, horrendous. As we saw there, the greengrocer fell into a stack of apples, and the station guard was causing problems with passengers getting on the train. And the message there should be that you shouldn't just go up and tickle people randomly. You should never touch somebody or invade their personal space without their permission, or unless it's somebody you know very well. Like surprising, a child running up to a grandparent and tickling them by surprise is not that bad. But running up to somebody who works in a shop and tickling them without their permission or without them knowing it's going to happen is pretty bad. And Mr. Tickle gets away with this. And I think that that's a really negative message. But as I said, I did read this a lot as a child. I didn't start tickling people at random. So I'm aware that it could just be me as an adult overanalyzing that. I'm very aware of that fact. But it's also weird because as far as I can remember, to my recollection, it's the only Mr. Man book where that's the case. Every other one seems to have a lesson or a moral or some kind of important story that children can learn from. That's not the case here. But I can imagine, we have these last few pages here, and you can imagine a parent reading it to a child. I don't know if this happened to me, but it could have done. It says here, perhaps before you know what is happening, you will be well and truly, turn the page, final word, tickled. And then the parent will tickle the child will squeal with delight. And it's a lovely reading experience. So while there are things about it that I think are not giving the best message, that definitely is something that I think was a little surprising to me when I reread it as an adult, because I'd obviously forgotten how it concluded or really what it was about. So that surprised me. But again, I think I may be just overanalyzing it. It isn't actually a bad book. I'm pleased that all of the other books, from what I remember, have good messages in them. But needless to say, there's a reason Mr. Tickle is pretty popular.